have to pretend you heard the bell because there's no bell. And it's Christmas, no bell. Come on, holidays. So we'll just ignore that. Welcome to Muskegon Rotary. My name's Jenny Sprague, and I have the privilege of serving as your president for this year. A special welcome to our many guests who are joining us today. We're delighted to have you with us. Our Rotary Foundation theme for December is disease prevention and treatment. And today's program will be saving and healing lives through organ and tissue donation. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will have a reflection from Darlene Collet. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Darlene?
Happy holidays, everyone. As I look forward to a new year, I think, what creates the meaning of success to all of us? And most of the time we think, oh, I made a lot of money, or oh, my business is doing well. And you may have heard this reflection I'm about to share with you, but I think it services to tell us what success really is. That man is a success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent people and the love of children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who leaves the world better than he found it, whether by an improved copy, a perfect poem, or a rescued soul, who never lacked appreciation of verse beauty or failed to express it, who looked for the best in others and gave the best he had. And that's Robert Louis Stevenson.
Thank you, Darlene. That was lovely. You all may be seated and enjoy your lunch. I know some of you just got it, so enjoy as best you can. We'll start in 10 minutes with the program. It's back. Please finish enjoying your food. We are going to get started, but I would like to start with a big thank you to the hotel servers and cooks and staff for an amazing job. We really appreciate it, and I know you'll be happy to see the buffet back. So, with so many guests here today, we don't introduce our individual guests, but if I don't mean to put you on the spot, if our guests could please stand so we could recognize you with a round of applause. We really are so pleased to have you here with us. So please stand. We hope you enjoy yourselves and see all the fun we have on Thursdays. So, right, and now for your enjoyment, we have a special video treat to say goodbye to 2023. Mike? We've done a lot, so it felt like we were operating at that speed. So we'll have to keep it up in the new year. At this time, we'll begin with our program, and Emma Peterson will be introducing our speakers for today. Emma?
Thanks, Jenny. Thank you. I am really excited to introduce our speakers today. Allison, and I didn't ask, is it Gillum or Gillum? Gillum. Okay, Allison Gillum is the Senior Community Relations Coordinator for Gift of Life Michigan, which is our state's designated organ and tissue recovery program. Allison oversees Gift of Life's statewide All of Us student education program and all public education and community outreach initiatives for the west side of the state. She is here to share information about organ and tissue donation and why it is so important for people in our community. And with her is Linda Johnson, a heart transplant recipient from Fruitport, who will share her story with all of you. And today is especially special to me, and I was thrilled to bring these ladies here today. It has close meaning to me. My dad was a heart transplant recipient in 1999, and he lived 8.5 years with his new heart, thanks to the Gift of Life organization and the family of a 17-year-old boy that had to make a really, really hard but incredibly important decision. So I'm so happy to welcome them and give them the floor.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Want me to move this up like this? I don't want to break anything up here. All right. And I've got my clicker. We're good to go. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a real honor to come here and share a little bit with you about Gift of Life and the work that we do here in Michigan. Before I get started, I have a quick question, just show of hands. How many of you know, off the top of your head, if you have that little red donor heart on your driver's license? Look at that. That's like basically the entire room. That's what, give yourself a round of applause. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. So I'm Allison Gillum, and as Emma said, and I do a lot of work with organizations like yours and students to educate the community about the importance of donation. And I'm excited for you to hear from Linda today as she really shares her testimony of why organ and tissue donation is so important and how it impacts people's lives. So I brought up PowerPoint here, got a few things to show you as we go along. A little background on Gift of Life Michigan. Most people maybe have never heard of Gift of Life and what we do, but they're familiar with that, that red heart on the license or being asked the question about the organ donor registry when they go to the Secretary of State. So Gift of Life is a nonprofit organization. We're pretty unique though. We have been designated by the federal government to recover organs and tissues for transplant here in our state. So we're the only organization that can do that. And we do that by working with families in pretty much the darkest moments of their lives when they have experienced a tragedy and their loved one has passed away in a hospital here in Michigan and has the potential to donate their organs and tissues. So we work very closely with every hospital in the state. They're actually required to notify us when they do have a patient in their care that meets the criteria for organ and tissue donation. So we work very hard to do everything we can to recover organs and tissues. On the other side of that, there are lots of patients waiting for transplants. In Michigan, we have 8 hospitals that specialize in different types of organ transplants. We're very proud at Gift of Life to be the second oldest organization of our kind in the United States. We just recently celebrated 50 years in service. And as I've already mentioned, we work very closely with the Secretary of State to maintain the organ donor registry. Linda and I are both from West Michigan, but Gift of Life is headquartered in Ann Arbor, and we have a pretty state-of-the-art facility there. We're one of only 4 organizations like ours in the US that has the ability to do everything right on site. So in our headquarters, we have a 3-bed intensive care unit, we have operating rooms, we have a full-service lab where we do all the blood work to make sure that transplants are going to be safe and compatible. So that all falls on us. It's pretty much a 24/7 job, as you might imagine. So most of you, maybe you hear about like heart transplants. Sometimes you'll see those in storylines on TV or in the news, but there are actually a lot of gifts that can be given and donated after you pass away. And maybe you've heard of people donating organs while they're alive, a thing called living donation, which is a wonderful way to help patients on the waiting list. You can donate part of your liver or a kidney while you're alive. Just for clarification, though living donation is not covered on the organ donor registry. So when we talk about the work we do at Gift of Life, the organ donor registry, we're talking about something called deceased donation. So what are the gifts you can donate to help others after you pass away? So as you can see up here, there are 6 transplantable organs: the lungs, the liver, the pancreas, the heart, kidneys, and intestines. And then we also recover tissues. So tissues are incredibly important for surgeries that people need to have every single day, and they help with healing. And then corneas are also a tissue. Who knows where your cornea is, by the way? Top of your eye, right? Good job. Can you tell that I work with students a lot, so I apologize. I don't mean to treat you like that. This is a smart group. So corneas are recovered by an eye bank in Michigan called Eversight, and we work very closely with them. But corneas restore sight for people who have corneal blindness. So that's an amazing gift to be able to give somebody. After you pass away, you have you can save 8 lives through organ donation, and up to 120 lives can be impacted through tissue donation. So it's an incredible impact that one person can make. I wanted to just take a moment to show you the waiting list, because unless this impacts your life on a daily basis, it's probably not something you're aware of or think about very much. But what you're looking at up here is Michigan's organ transplant waiting list. So right now there are a little over 2,400 people in our state that need an organ transplant. And if you'll look up at the top there, you may notice kidneys, about 80% of the waiting list. So it's a huge problem. And that's just because of very common chronic conditions that cause kidney failure, like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. You'll see the same thing nationally. It's not a unique problem to Michigan, but it's something that we're always trying to work on, even just a prevention piece, because a lot of these people listed for kidneys didn't need to be there, right? If they had maybe had some resources available to them before it got too bad and they went into kidney failure. So nationally, there's about 103 people right now waiting on a life-saving organ transplant. We've got a pretty unique problem, though, here in Michigan and in the United States. We have way more people that need organs than what we have available. We do not even come close to meeting the need for organs. So this is a real stat. Every 9 minutes, a new name is added to the waiting list for an organ in the US. And because we don't have enough organs for everybody, sadly, about 17 people are dying every day in the United States awaiting a transplant that will never come for them. So why is this? A large part of this, and this is usually a new piece of information for people. A lot of people just assume, I have the heart on my license, I'm going to donate my organs and tissues after I pass away. Unfortunately, it does not work like that. It's actually pretty rare to meet the criteria to be an organ donor. Usually about 1% of the population is going to meet that criteria. And what needs to happen is patients need to be on a ventilator in a hospital when they pass away. It's the only way we have on our end, without getting too clinical, to make sure that organs are going to be healthy to be transplanted to somebody else after somebody passes away. So if that criteria right there isn't met, organ donation is not an option. Now, tissue donation is a little bit different. You don't have to pass away in a hospital to donate tissue, so it's far more common, but organ donation is really where we need to be doing better. We try to educate people about this. The problem is twofold. There's not a lot we can do to control the criteria, right? That's kind of out of our hands. But only about half of people that meet the criteria to donate their organs give permission for their organs to be donated. Their family members give permission. So more people that understand the need and are educated about this process, the more people that say yes to this, it's going to help go a long way, right, in making more organs available. It's not going to solve the problem, but it's going to help make a big difference. All right, so I want to turn it over to Linda for just a few minutes to share her story about what it's been like to go through this and be the recipient of one of these amazing gifts. And then I have a few things to cover, and we'll wrap it up for some questions. But Linda, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Let me know if you need me to move the... I'll change the slides for you. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name's Linda Johnson. I was born and raised in Muskegon County. And quite a few years ago now, I was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy. Cardiomyopathy is a disease of the heart muscle, so my heart was very large and very weak. It didn't have the stamina to really supply my body with the oxygenated blood that it needed. So I was put on an LVAD. It's a left ventricular assistant device while I waited for an organ. As you see there, that vehicle, that's a retired Secret Service vehicle, and they use those to transport organs. My heart was in like an igloo cooler in that vehicle. My husband ran down to take some photos so he could get as much as possible. I received a phone call, and it was just, wow, they've got one for me. I'm going to get to live. It was amazing. So we rushed to the hospital. The surgery was the following morning, but he went down, he got the photos while I was in getting prepped. And then when I came out of the surgery, I was in a coma for 3 days. I had more than 25 of those IV controllers. I don't remember anything from that time period. That's one thing that people will ask me. It's kind of unbelievable. I remember when I came to, you can have what's called a false call. You can get there, they can prep you, and then the heart just isn't right for you. Something's not right with the heart, and they don't feel it's good to use. So my first question was, did I get a heart? Because I had been sleeping. I didn't know what was going on. But it was just amazing to know that this 34-year-old female who had no idea when her day was going to come, how it was going to come, what would happen, signed up to be an organ donor. And thank goodness for her, because that's why I'm here today. When I was listed, I had one granddaughter. I now have 7 grandchildren. 4 of them were born when I had my LVAD. My one daughter had twins. But the whole time I didn't know that I was going to be there to watch those grandchildren grow. And it's amazing to be here now and to be able to play with them. The one photo there is my first walk in the ICU hallway. It was my 51st birthday. That's my favorite nurse, Rico, and my son-in-law, Aaron Cope, and my grandson, Micah, who's one of the 4 that were born when I had my LVAD, and I didn't know if I would be here to be able to play with him. I was in the ICU for, it was like 9 to 10 days. I set a record for my age group, which I thought was odd, but I was like, great, get me out of here. But when it was time for me to go home, it was a Friday. So they said, we're not discharging you on a Friday. We want our whole team here if we need you. So I went back to the 7 Heart floor and spent the weekend there. And that was really wonderful, because I had all these nurses, these caregivers that had taken care of me for years. As I got to this point, I was able to share pictures with them and tell them, hey, I got a heart, and it was just wonderful to be able to share that blessing with them before coming home. I thank God every day that gift of life is here and that they do these things, because they're saving lives every day. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I'm going to definitely leave some time for questions. If anybody has questions for you, I think I might have a few questions for you that we can highlight. So thank you for sharing. One of the things I just kind of wanted to touch on that I mentioned earlier was tissue donation. You hear so much about organ donation. It gets all the glory, but tissue donation is equally as important. And far more people have the opportunity to give these gifts. And so when we talk about tissues, what do we mean? We're talking about things like your bones, your skin, your veins, tendons, nerves, ligaments. They can all be used to dramatically improve somebody's quality of life after you pass away. And a lot of times, maybe we have some tissue recipients in this room, by the way. A lot of times people have had tissue and surgeries, and they may not even know it. It's very, very common. So used for things like sports injuries, a lot of different dental procedures, back surgeries, joint repair and replacement, things like that. And then I also mentioned the corneas. So corneas are a tissue, and that's handled by Eversight, as I said earlier. But really neat here, you can see a before and after picture of a cornea transplant. So that before picture is a diseased cornea. So sometimes people are born with a condition that causes their corneas to cloud over. I think of the cornea like a contact lens, right? It's about the size of a dime right in front of your iris and pupil. And when that gets cloudy, or say you could externally damage that, you're going to lose your vision just because you can't see through that, right? When that's damaged or diseased. So what we can do is we can remove that, and we put a healthy cornea on from a donor. And that's what you're seeing in that after picture. And they sew those on, believe it or not. Those little stitches that go all the way around are finer than a human hair. It's pretty incredible. It's an outpatient procedure, it takes like 2 hours, and people are having their sight restored. This is the most common type of transplant that there is, and anybody can donate their cornea. So I always like to point this out, because one of the things we always hear from people is, you don't want my organs, I'm too old for that, or I take this medication, or I have this condition. Not true, but also as corneas, anybody can donate. So that's one of the really neat things. Even if you have bad vision, you could donate your corneas to restore somebody's sight. So just a quick clarifier, since we've talked about the organ donor registry, and looks like pretty much every single one of you in this room recognizes that heart. So from time to time though, Linda and I do meet people that have this heart on their license and they have no idea what it means. It's a little bit shocking. You all, I'm telling you now, if you see this heart on your license, it means that you registered to be an organ donor. Now, we don't technically use this to determine someone's organ donation status, if they should ever meet the criteria. We check the actual registry. That is a private, confidential database that's legally binding. Once people put their name in there, they say they want to donate, they're 18 or older, nobody can overrule that decision. We kind of think about it like it's a will for your organs and tissues, so to speak. So that's pretty much why we have that. It's a way for us, when somebody can't speak for themselves anymore, if they've legally documented what their wishes are, we can refer to that through the donor registry. There's actually only a few people at Gift of Life that can access that. This isn't something that people in hospitals have access to. You can sign up online anytime too. You don't need to be at the Secretary of State, and you don't need a driver's license to sign up. The one thing I want to impress upon all of you is that anybody can make an impact. Every single person in this room today has the ability to make an impact through organ and tissue donation. This isn't something that only certain people can do. And there's so many people that could benefit from this, right? So I don't want to hear, I'm too old. The oldest organ donor, you're seeing it right here, 95-year-old man donated his liver to a 62-year-old woman. And the oldest cornea donor was 107. So tissue donors are commonly in their 80s, 90s, 100s. And also, when I do this presentation for students, I let them know minors can join the registry too. Their parents or legal guardian will have the final say until they turn 18, but this really is open to everybody. And it doesn't matter if you have a medical condition, if you previously did, we let physicians make those decisions at the time of your death if you would potentially be a candidate for organ donation. So remember, anybody can pretty much donate their corneas, so don't rule yourself out. And then lastly, just a couple things. These are kind of some of the common things I hear from people when I'm out in the community, these different myths, misconceptions around donation. The first one here, I think hands down what I hear the most is people are very afraid to join the donor registry because they don't want that little heart on their license. They're afraid it's going to impact the medical care they receive if they're in an accident. I'm here to tell you that is not the case. I could do a whole presentation on why that's not the case. First and foremost, though, first responders are going to do everything they can to save your life. They're not concerned with your organ donation status. They're not looking for your license to find out if you're an organ donor. Organ donation is not medically possible unless everything has been done to save somebody's life first. It only becomes an option after all life-saving measures fail. There's no cost to your family. Your family's never going to get a bill for you to be an organ or tissue donor. We cover all of those costs. This is something that all major religions support and kind of view it as a final act of love for your neighbor. And one of the uncomfortable things we talk about, we get questions about, it's not going to affect funeral arrangements. Part of what we do at Gift of Life is we work very closely with funeral homes and families to honor whatever their wishes are for their loved ones' funeral arrangements. Whatever that may be, organ and tissue donation is possible, and we're able to make whatever the family's wishes are happen. Speaking of your family, one important thing I want to leave you with is this. Whether you are supportive of organ donation or you're not, make sure that somebody in your family knows what you would want. If you should ever be in the position to be a donor and you can no longer speak for yourself, we're going to come to your family and ask for permission, especially if we don't see your name on the organ donor registry, right? So make sure your family is not completely blindsided with a question like that. And it's one easier thing for them to answer in an already very traumatic time. It's just very important that your family knows what your wishes are, either way. And this is our cute little mascot, Hartley T. Hart. You may sometimes see Hartley out in the community. So I wanted to leave this up here. Again, if you're not on the socials as much, that's fine. I understand this is, again, a slide I usually encourage students to go follow us on our social media channels. But if you want to learn more about this at all, or our organization, you can visit golm.org. We are on Facebook, Instagram, if you want to follow us there. We, of course, always love that. And I would like to leave just a little bit of time for some questions, but that pretty much wraps up what I have. Do we have time for, okay, I was gonna say, we'll leave it to me to go over. Yes, okay, in the back.
A microphone so we can hear.
Yeah.
I had the donor button on for years, and then I read several articles on the internet, which means they're absolutely gospel. Right?
Correct.
That somehow donations got diverted to for-profit purposes, which totally turned me off. Is that accurate, or what's the truth on that?
I would be curious where you were reading that to know. I mean, I don't mean that like out of disrespect or anything. I'm just curious who was putting that out. Nope, that is not how it works in the United States. So in the United States, organ and tissue donation, organ recovery is overseen by organ procurement organizations, all of which are nonprofits. And we are responsible for making the organs available for patients in hospitals that need them. Now, we recover tissues, those do go through tissue processors, but that is not it works the same way. Like the tissue processors provide the tissues to the hospitals for the patients to use in surgical procedures. So without knowing exactly what you were reading or what it was referring to, I'm a little unsure, but I can confidently tell you that that's not how it works in the United States. Good question.
Is there any thought of replacing tracheas and esophagus? And additionally, I had Lyme disease and I was told I can't give blood and I can't be a donor. Is that still true?
Good questions, thank you. So I have gotten this question about the trachea and the esophagus more frequently. It's not something I'm familiar with that they're doing yet or looking into. I should do a little more research on it, so I can't answer that definitively. But there must be some information out there about that because I'm getting more questions about that. In terms of Lyme disease, perhaps you can't donate your organs or most of the tissues, but what I will say again is that pretty much anybody can donate their corneas because they're what we call avascular. They don't have a blood supply. So we don't worry about transmitting anything from donor to recipient. So it's pretty much one of we consider cornea donors to be universal donors. Thank you.
I want to thank you for what you do. Nothing like Linda's situation, but I will be having a partial cornea transplant January 16th. So it'll be the left eye first, and about 3 months after that, hopefully the right eye. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for all having the heart on your license.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Stop it. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And that reminds me, one of the things I wanted to do real quick was, has anybody in this room had a transplant of any kind? Look at that. There's several people in here. You're in good company, Linda. Yeah, it impacts people in a lot more ways than you may think.
I just wanted to share, at the age of 36, my brother-in-law, in a wrestling accident with my son, he had his cornea scratched and went to the doctor and learned that he was in kidney failure and had no idea. And so we were feeling really guilty that he had to go through this terrible thing, but if he had not, they wouldn't have learned that. He got the kidney transplant, and he was the oldest living kidney transplant patient, and then went on to get a pancreas transplant as well later on, but he was childhood diabetes.
Yep.
And so just to have 26 more years with his 3 young sons was really impactful.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate you sharing that. 2 things actually about what you just said. It is, if I had $1 for every time that I met somebody who found themselves on the waiting list for a kidney and had like no idea they were in kidney failure until they were at the point they needed to be listed for transplant, it's common. It happens a lot, and you hear about it a lot more with men. I don't know why that is, but that is something that happens. Fun fact, a kidney pancreas transplant cures type 1 diabetes. So often kidneys and pancreas will be transplanted together. Normally a transplant's not a cure for anything, as Linda will probably tell you, but in that case, it can cure type 1 diabetes. Thank you for sharing that.
A few months ago, my daughter was killed in a rollover car accident, and we found out that she was a donor. And we were approached in the hospital by your organization. And we knew that later on that she gave her heart and her tissues, and she saved a 17-year-old kid. And we're just grateful that my daughter lives on through somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say, I need to come over and give you a hug. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm so sorry that your family has had to go through that. But what a selfless gift to give to somebody else. And just, I want you to think about too, the lives she saved, but also think about the ripple effect that that's gonna have and all the things that are gonna now happen because of those lives that she saved. So thank you, and I'm sorry.
All the questions?
Oh, do we have time for one more?
Absolutely, I
Okay.
didn't know. I would never say no to ask one.
So my question is, support groups for both the donor's family and perhaps a recipient family. Do you
Yeah.
help with that, assist with that?
Maybe I'll let Linda speak to the recipient piece. But so at Gift of Life, our role strictly is, we really work with the donor families, right? So we work with them, and we provide the organs and tissues for people that need them. The recipient transplant side is fully handled through transplant centers. So I'll let Linda speak to that. But at Gift of Life, we do have a whole department dedicated to family support. So we want to walk alongside families when they're immediately going through this tragedy, but we also want to support them in the years after. And so Gift of Life provides resources for support for families. And so it's something I'd be happy to share more information about that. If anybody has questions. Linda, do you want to maybe speak about what support groups are available for recipients?
Sure. There are many support groups for recipients. Some of them go by the organ that you received, but we also have meetings through our doctor's office, the Heart Transplant Center, the Heart Organization. There's just many things out there for us, and I'm glad that there is. It's a wonderful thing.
Last question.
In 2021, I was lucky to get cartilage donated for my nose, bone for my neck, and bone for my back in 3 separate surgeries through the VA. But for 25 years or so, I was told I couldn't donate blood because I was exposed to tainted English beef when I was stationed in Europe. And now I know I can donate blood again. In the last couple of years, they opened that back up, but can I donate my organs?
Ooh, good question. Potentially. Tissue, sometimes with organs, we're actually able to recover organs that, whereas you might not be able to donate the tissue because that's all regulated through the FDA. So like if any of you have ever donated blood, that basically all those things apply for tissue donation, with the exception of corneas. I'll say it again. I'm sure I'm getting feedback here. You could donate your corneas for sure. I'm not sure about how CJD goes, the Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease, with organ donation. I should look into that to be sure, but I don't think it's an automatic rule out, but possibly. I would need to check into that for sure. Good question, and thank you for sharing about your experience receiving tissue. I always love to hear those stories. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate all of you.
I have a little gift for you guys, thank you. To thank you for your presentation today. We are going to make a donation in your honor to Hand Wash. There's a sign there behind you. Hand Wash is a cooperative initiative between Terra Nueve and Haiti in Champion Rotary District 6290, which is our district, to provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene in rural areas of Haiti. So your reach is even extending out of the country. So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you, and thank you for all the great work you guys are doing.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. Thank you. Well, besides being our last meeting of the year, this is what is called our annual meeting. And at this meeting, we are, by our bylaws, required to do our board elections for the coming Rotary year, the 24-25 year. And Mike, if you could put up the slate of nominees. The blue one with the blue background, there it is, okay. This shows everything, but right now we're concerned with a replacement for just a few positions. We're going to be electing our president nominee and 3 directors to our board. I'm going to read the nomination for each position, and I will call for nominations from the floor if there are any. So our nominee for the position of president nominee at the recommendation of the current board of directors is Roger Morgenstern. Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I will move on. The next 3 positions available are our director positions, and our nominees for those positions as director with a term of office from 2024 to 2027 are Tom Palmer, Esther Rico, and Lisa Tyler. Are there any nominations for those positions from the floor? Hearing none, no further nominations, I will entertain a motion to close the nominations and cast a unanimous vote to elect a slate of nominees for the office of president nominee, Roger Morgenstern, and the 3 directors, Tom Palmer, Esther Rico, and Lisa Tyler.
Close the nominations and cast a unanimous vote to elect a slate of nominees for the office of president nominee, Roger Morgenstern, and the 3 directors, Tom Palmer, Esther Rico, and Lisa Tyler.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second to the motion? Second. Could you say your name, please? Oh, there we go. Dave Alexander seconded the motion. Thank you for that, gentlemen. Therefore, all those in favor of closing the nominations and casting a unanimous vote to elect the slate of nominees for the office of President nominee Roger Morgenstern, for the 3 directors, Tom Palmer, Esther Rico, and Lisa Tyler, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The slate is elected for 2024 to 2025 for the Muskegon Rotary Board of Directors. Congratulations to our nominees. Pardon me. And at this time, I would like, if you would all stand, although I know Roger's not here, Emily, you can just say, you know, we recognized him. But I would like to recognize the rest of your board for the coming year. President will be Tim Arter. Tim, where are you? There you are. President-elect Dave Alexander. Treasurer Christy Nagengast. Our secretary is a appointed position, and that is Jane Klingman Scott, who just loves being on the board. So, and our continuing directors are Aaron Mikey, Marty Seitzema, and Brandon Turnbull. So thank you to all of you for your service. And once again, congratulations to our newly elected officer and directors. And we thank you for your service to the Muskegon Rotary Club. Thank you. And now we're going to a happy note. It's time to recognize our birthdays, and this is 2 weeks. And let me tell you, a lot of people out there were holiday gifts. That's all I got to say. Arlen Dean Gaddy, December 14th. And Arlen, I know you're here. Congratulations and happy birthday. So, Pam Curtis, December 17th. David Hogan, December 20th. Troy Wasserman, December 20th. Jules Terry, December 21st. Michael Weeses, December 21st. Stevie Ryle, December 21st. Daniel Risley, December 23rd. Contessa Alexander, December 24th. Kelly DeVos, December 27th. Craig Wickander, December 28th. Tom Livesey, December 28th. And Stacy Kennedy, December 29th. And happy birthday to you all. You can celebrate your birthday by donating to our Caring Connection, your $10. And remember, you really will glad I'm not singing today, so. Okay, next up. We are going to have our spotlight video. And this is a member who's near and dear to my heart. You'll see.
I'm Rem Sprague, Rotary member for approximately 30 years. Retired from executive role with the local health system and still practicing internal medicine. The Rotary focus on disease prevention and treatment is fundamental to Rotary International. Not only the efforts to eliminate polio from the world, but to really improve hygiene, clean water access, fundamental really to public health. You know, public health changed its face dramatically in the early 20th century with the focus on clean water, on hygiene, both in the medical sphere and in the general home sphere, and has continued through the development of immunizations, vaccinations to prevent childhood diseases that were killing thousands of children every year. We continue to work in our local community to enhance community health. Our initiative to be 1 in 21 was part of that. Our support of the Seaway Run, our emphasis on healthy food access for individuals, all help to improve the health of our community. The Rotary motto of service above self speaks very well to the issue of health and disease prevention and treatment. In the healthcare industry, nurses, physicians, pharmacists, lab techs, executives, frankly, are all focused on service. And the primary focus exceeds the individual interests of those people involved in healthcare. You just don't go into healthcare and tolerate the long work hours, the stressful conditions, the difficulty sometimes with being understaffed and being stretched in too many directions. You don't do that if your own self is primary. You do that because service to others is what drives and motivates you in that experience.
Thank you for that. Good job. We've been starting a new thing that we're doing quarterly, and we're wrapping up our second quarter of the Rotary year, and we're going to recognize our newest members and our Red Star graduates. So during this second quarter, we welcomed Phil McPherson, Brandy Carlson, Walter Mratz, Cynthia Maynard, Jeremy Garcia, Tabitha Johnson, Richard Francisco, and Rob Cook to our club. We are so happy to have new members that keep adding to our club and making us stronger and better situated to help our community. Next, we will congratulate our Red Star graduates. These new members, can shed their Red Star if they want to. If you like it, you can keep it. That's fine. Karen Bowie, Carla Flanders, Gabrielle Gerlach, Stacy Gomez, Ken James, Lisa Krause, and Laura Lorenz. So congratulations to you guys. Okay, and Meredith, you're up. Yeah. Meredith couldn't be with us last week to send two of you packing, but she's here to do it today. I'm good to step over here.
Thanks, Judy. So for some of our guests, our spouses and cherished friends, we have a couple of Rotarian contests throughout the year, some healthy competition to see if you could win a Paul Harris Fellow. And by becoming a Paul Harris Fellow, you have donated $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation. So these contests, a member will donate $100. Seems to losing my voice here. And our last two remaining contestants in mid-January will receive Paul Harris Fellows or could choose to donate their one Paul Harris Fellow to another fellow Rotarian or member of the community. So, Mr. Vogus, would you go ahead and spin our wheel of misfortune? Oh, Dave Alexander. Not too long, Mr. Alexander, you'll be back, I'm sure, as our president. So this particular slide is about how the Rotary Foundation are community builders. We connect passionate people with diverse perspectives to exchange ideas, forge lifelong friendships, and above all, take action to change the world. Rotary works differently, service above self. We see differently. Our multidisciplinary perspectives help us to see challenges in unique ways. We think differently. We apply leadership and expertise to social issues and find unique solutions. We act responsibly. Our passion and perseverance create lasting change in the world. We make a difference at home and around the globe. Our members can be found in your community and across the world. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our community, and within ourselves. Solving real problems takes commitment and vision. For more than 110 years, Rotary's People of Action have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. From literacy and peace to water and health, we are always working to make our world better, and we stay committed until the very end. Thank you, Dave. Mr. Vogus, one more candidate today. Oh, two fan favorites, Mr. Noling. This is how cool this man is. My 15-year-old son thinks he walks on water. So, Rotary promotes peace. We create environments of peace. As a humanitarian organization, peace is a cornerstone of our mission. We believe when people work to create peace in their community, that change can have an effect globally. We carry out service projects and support peace fellowships and scholarships. Our members take action to address the underlying causes of conflict, including poverty, discrimination, ethnic tension, lack of access to education, and unequal distribution of resources. Our commitment to peace building today answers new challenges, how we can make the greatest possible impact, and how we can achieve our vision of lasting change. We are approaching the concept of peace with greater cohesion and inclusivity, broadening the scope of what we mean by peace building and finding more ways to get people involved. Rotary creates environments where peace can happen. Rotary has provided $3.4 million in funding via 67 grants to promote peace building initiatives globally. Rotary's 4 roles in promoting peace are: we are practitioners. Our work fighting disease, providing clean water and sanitation, improving the health of mothers and children, supporting education, and growing the local economies directly builds the optimal conditions for peaceful societies. As educators, our Rotary Peace Centers have trained more than 1,600 peace followers to become effective catalysts for peace through careers in government, education, and international organizations. We are mediators. Our members have negotiated humanitarian ceasefires in areas of conflict to allow polio vaccinations to reach children who are at risk. We are advocates. Our members have an integral role as respected, impartial participants during peace processes and in post-conflict reconstruction. We focus on creating communities and convening groups that are connected, inclusive, and resilient. So thank you, Dave and John, for participating today.
Thank you, Meredith. We're going to have some announcements. I have a couple, and then Rob, if you and your wife would like to come up, just up here and be ready. We'll have you speak in just a second. Today's our last meeting for 2023. We will not meet December 21st or 28th, but I look forward to seeing everyone when we reconvene on January 4th. So make it your New Year's, your first one, that you will show up at Rotary on January 4th. So that would be great. Rewind does not meet this evening, but will meet on December 21st at 5:15 for a Rewind happy hour at the Valkyrie, whatever, the restaurant on the corner, Four Corners in North Muskegon. Everyone is welcome to come and just share some fun, some good times. This is the final mention of this. The details are in the RIM. The Spring Lake Rotary Club is selling raffle tickets to win 3 flights of difficult to find bourbon. The drawings are going to be held over 3 days. And the ticket sales end at Monday, December 18th at 5 p.m. And like I said, check the RIM for all the details and the link to purchase tickets. Rob?
Good afternoon, everyone. So we just wanted to inform you that we have some bags, which we call blessing bags. There is some in the hallway out there. I'm not sure how many are left, but there is a few. In these bags, we have water bottles, Vienna sausages, blankets, hats, gloves, crackers, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, different toiletries, body washes, things like that, soap bars. We would like you guys to take the bags, and if you see anybody that you feel deserves a blessing out there on the corners or whatever, and just give it to them. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much. This is City Boy, right? The organization is asking you to share some love on their behalf, so please consider that as you leave. And it's that time, if you're feeling lucky, it's raffle time. Eric, what are we doing first?
award will be for $5 US. I'd like to draw
$5. Not Russian, not Chinese, American. 754. Oh, there we go. Way to go, Lisa. $10. 885. Oh, congratulations. And for the big prize, $20.
749.
749. Hey. Congratulations, Don. Okay, as I mentioned, we will meet next on January 4th, and our program will be Black Wall Street, Muskegon. I hope you all enjoy your holiday break and have great family and friend time, and I will see you all in 24. If you will please rise, we'll recite the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a good 2 weeks and go out and create some hope in the world. We are adjourned.